But general manager Andrew Berry, he's optimistic. He says his quarterback is making excellent progress, adding, quote, honestly, if you didn't know he got hurt last year, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Bringing us on camera, I think Deshaun Watson will be back to the best version of himself.
Ooh, please let us know what tells you that.
Tell me all about it.
Quarterbacks get paid for two reasons, so I'm going to assess Deshaun in two ways. You get paid based on how well your team performs, or you get paid based on how well you perform. Deshaun Watson led the league in touchdown passes, but his team was 4-12. Touchdown and passing yards, but his team was 4-12. But Deshaun got paid. Joe Flacco was atrocious, statistically speaking. Playoff run went crazy, but his team won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco got paid. There's two ways that quarterbacks can succeed in the NFL. Either your team does well or you do well. I do not see a 4,900, 5,000-yard passing Deshaun. But his best career in Houston was 11-5. I do see 11-6 Deshaun in Cleveland. I do see the best version as it pertains to winning in Cleveland. Because last year, Deshaun Watson was 5-1 as a starter. He's 8-4 as a starter in his duration in Cleveland. So for as bad as he has been in comparison to old versions of Deshaun, and as bad as he has been depending on what statistics you want to pull from Deshaun, the Cleveland Browns were still winning. Now, he might have gone along for the ride as opposed to being the conductor for the ride, but when push comes to shove, they were still winning. So the best version of Deshaun is 11-5. I think Deshaun can help command and help lead the Browns to 11 wins. I think he can help command and lead them to 10 wins. He can help command and lead them to 12 wins because last year before his departure, they were 5-1. Albeit he left some games, he entered some games, but they were still winning.
This is the problem with that take, right? Because you are right to a certain extent, right? We want wins, or we want production, right?
One of the two, or both, preferably.
But the only thing is when you jump out as a superstar, you can't go back to just playing regular average and y'all winning games and you get credit for it. It don't work like that. Think about it. Who can do that? You go from being Deshaun Watson to the stuff we see him do, play electrifying football, throwing, running, et cetera, to just being average and y'all winning games. You can't do that. The NFL don't work like that. Maybe for them other dudes that's not as good as Deshaun, talent-wise. Listen, last couple of years, I've been rooting for Deshaun Watson, right?
Oh.
I've been saying, look, man, he gonna return because there's no way this brother can be that good and then now be that bad. I'm out of hope. It's over. I don't think he's returning back to being that type of player. I don't even see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Maybe these guys over here can tell you some others, but I can't. I can't see it.
No, I'm with Shady because in 2 years, you got 14 touchdown passes. I think last time I checked, they paid you $250 guaranteed.
230 fully guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So you saying, Acho, a man that we gave $230 million guaranteed, you cool with him being Jimmy Garoppolo?
Is he that bad? He ain't that bad.
No.
Is he that bad, though?
I'm just going off of what Acho said because Acho said as long as 11 wins if your team wins.
I get it.
Jimmy G won, right? We could look at the tape and say, Lord have mercy at the quarterback spot.
Of course.
That's where
Jimmy beat you, right?
In what?
And what?
Stop. We ain't talking about
not today.
You know what I'm saying? But Deshaun Watson is a all-pro player.
Yes, he is.
We pay you all-pro money.
Yes, we do.
To go out here and win games on your shoulders.
Yes, sir.
Since you have been here, you have not shown us that. It ain't even been close to that, to like superstardom. It may be one game we could touch on like, ooh, that drive right there he put together. But we ain't seen the Deshaun Watson, and it's been 3 years.
I don't disagree, but here's what I remember. I remember asking a general manager one time about a top 5 pick, one of the most electrifying college players in the history of the sport, indisputably. Didn't necessarily have the NFL career that we all thought he would have, but one of the most electrifying players ever. Won't say his name, I'll let y'all deduce it. I said, hey, man, y'all regret drafting him so high? He said, Acho, we won a Super Bowl. I said, what that mean? He said, we won a Super Bowl. So did he give us the all-pro production we expected? No, but we won a Super Bowl. So whatever we did, it worked out. My point being, now I'm not saying the Browns are going to win a Super Bowl, but clearly when the Denver Broncos got 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions from Peyton Manning en route to winning a Super Bowl, they didn't get the $50 million or $30 million at the time dollar Peyton Manning, but they ended up winning. So I don't think you necessarily care how you win so long as you win. If the Cleveland Browns, James Jones, win two playoff games this year, and Deshaun has 26 touchdowns, 14 picks, throws for 3,500 yards, and they win 2 playoff games and go further than they've ever gone since 1988, I don't think we're going to be counting pockets. I think we're going to say he's taken us further than we thought he would.
My only thing is, what tells you that that's going to happen, that that's coming back? Because it's been 3 years. Peyton Manning went crazy the year before.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Did.
Like, so yes, we think Peyton Manning gonna go crazy the next year without injuries or whatnot. And let's just say he fell off, but you fell off for 1 year. You have fell off for 3 years.
All the years.
And we ain't even seen you since you left Houston.
All of that falling off, all of it, because it was bad. Still went 5-1.
See, that's why I hate that.
Joe Flacco, hold on, no. Joe Flacco came in, and we praised Joe Flacco because he threw for 300. Look at the stats. It was not impressive. It was impressive for a 37-year-old off the couch.
Boomer bust.
Correct. Yeah. It wasn't impressive in totality. They still went to the playoffs, and what I would suggest is if you go to the playoffs, and I think they played the Texans and got beat down by the Texans.
Blew out.
They got beat all the way down. You pay Deshaun Watson to get you a ticket to the dance. The playoffs are the dance. You pay him to get you a ticket to the dance. When you in the dance, you pay him to get you further in there. So that's what I'm hoping for.
So I heard what you're saying. Has he been awful, or was he been good?
I think he's been bad. I think he's been bad.
So
he's been bad.
So how can we sit here and say, you're saying that he's been playing bad since he got to the Browns, right? Since he got his money, been bad. And if the team has success that he's not even really a part of, like that, you won't give him the credit for that? Because the way you talking, let's say they go to the playoffs, or they do this and that, I can see them letting him go after that year is over. So how much was you really
Easier
effective?
said than done with that deal, but yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like you're not even part of it for real. Like, we're not going to look, if the Browns go to the Super Bowl and Deshaun Watson looks like he's been playing the way he's been playing since he's been a Brown, nobody's going to be excited about that. No. Are you? How can you?
I think the one point that Acho makes that I agree with is that Watson is very fortunate that he plays for the Cleveland Browns. Because this is a damn good roster. I mean, the Browns went to the playoffs last year starting 5 different quarterbacks.
Correct.
So this is a roster that doesn't need all-pro quarterback play to reach the playoffs. Top of that, sorry, Cleveland fans, it's Cleveland. Like, making a run to the playoffs, I mean, my God, even getting to the Super Bowl would shut that entire city down for weeks. So this is a great spot for him to be because the fan base is going to be grateful for any success that they get, and the team is good enough that he doesn't need to be amazing. Other than that, man, I can't really see where you're getting this. I mean, James already laid it out. 14 touchdowns in 2 years. He had 12 starts in Cleveland, 12 full games in Cleveland, not counting the ones that he left early. That's not a huge sample size, but it's not a small sample size either. 2 games with a passer rating over 100, completing 59% of his passes. He hasn't played the way that we remember since 2020.
You see the highlights?
I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is, to me, it's about perspective. And that's why I agree. I don't disagree with y'all, right? I'm sitting here saying Deshaun got to win games. But remember what we said about Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco won Comeback Player of the Year, so much so that I, as an AP voter, and this is public information, I, as a voter, got an email last week that said, reminder, the criteria for voting for Comeback Player of the Year should be players that overcome injuries, amongst other things. Like, we were notified. I say that to say, we were so enthralled by Joe Flacco, 60% completion percentage. Enthralled by Joe Flacco, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Deshaun, 61% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. In the Joe Flacco play. So I say that to say, think about how we talked about Joe Flacco. Oh, my God, Joe Flacco might be, Joe Flacco might be. It's because our expectations for Deshaun are so high, and they should be. But if Deshaun takes the Browns further than they go, I don't need 5,000 passing yards. He did that, and the Texans went 4-12. I want some wins. If somebody was drafted to Cleveland, forget your individual stats. I want to see them go for it.
I'm not saying stats. I could care less about the stats, right? You see Patrick Mahomes this year, one of the worst years the Kansas City Chiefs had. When the game was on the line or when his team had to win, who delivered? Patrick Mahomes, and he looked like the best player on the field. Deshaun Watson, that was you. I'm not saying you got to throw 50 touchdowns and 4,500 yards. Look like the best player on the team because that's the type of player that you were, and you're not that type of player now. We shouldn't be saying Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco is similar numbers.
Right, we talking about Joe Flacco. Real quick, I played with the Chiefs in 2019. We played the Texans in the playoffs. They were whooping their tail. Deshaun was looking amazing, bro. Amazing. The whole week we kept talking about how good he was. Myself, I'm talking trash to defense. right? Because he was that good. Now we sit here talking about Deshaun Watson. Yo, if he could just go in there and just be okay, what?
It's a fall from
What are
grace.
you talking about?
It's a fall from grace.
That's embarrassing, though, bro.
But that's what I'm saying, man. Like, can he get back to that? It hasn't been like no serious injury that he has dealt with. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, where is that Deshaun Watson?
And the last thing, if the Browns, this is another thing you got to think about. If the Browns had the old Deshaun Watson that they paid for, right?
They would be Super Bowl
they would be smoking teams.
Yes.
We would be talking about them and the Chiefs. Yo, I know it's only week 2, but man, Deshaun Watson and the Browns, right? The way they playing, it's going to be the Chiefs and them in the AFC Championship game. But the way he's playing, we're praying and hoping that the defense can save the day, get some sacks, get a fumble here.